Money is something that everyone, from a beggar to a billionaire, desires. It is not just a piece of paper, but an addiction in itself. Money is a language that everyone understands, from clerks doing paperwork to uneducated members of the Legislative Assembly. It is this money that has taken humans from living in jungles to building skyscrapers that touch the clouds and driving cars faster than the wind. Money is just a piece of paper that has no value of its own but tells you the value of other things. Now the question is, where did money get all this power from? Let's dive into it in detail. Thousands of years ago, humans used a barter system for trade, where in order to buy something, you had to give something else in return. For example, if someone had rice and wanted sugar, they would have to find someone who was selling sugar and also needed rice. Because of problems like this, people began to think differently, and thus began the use of commodities. Humans turned everything useful to everyone into money and began trading through animals, grains, tobacco, and alcohol. But even this had its issues. It was difficult to determine the correct value of what you had, and commodities would spoil over time. Purchased animals would die and grains would rot. So humans needed something universal, and thus began the era of gold and silver coins. But, as usual, this two-legged creature found problems here too, like carrying heavy gold and the risk of theft. So some goldsmiths and other people came up with a solution. They told people, "Deposit your gold with us and we will keep it safe." In return, the goldsmith would give them a piece of paper stating that this person had so much gold stored with them. This paper was called an IOU, meaning I owe you. With this, people could show the paper and retrieve their gold whenever they wanted. Everyone liked this idea, and people started storing their gold with these goldsmiths. But after some time, the goldsmiths realized that almost no one ever came to reclaim their gold. Everyone was just trading with the receipts because they trusted that if they had the receipt, the gold would be there. Once the goldsmiths understood this, they became greedy. The receipts they issued had now become money, so they started creating fake receipts. They didn't even have the gold, but kept issuing more receipts. Thus began the world's biggest legal scam, which is still ongoing today. That gold storing shop was the world's first bank, and the receipts were the world's first currency. Now, if I ask you how a bank works, you might say that the bank lends money from the deposits we make, and by charging interest on those loans, it earns a profit. Simple, right? Based on this explanation, the bank's operation would be like this. You go to the bank tomorrow morning and deposit 1,000 rupees, giving two 500 rupee notes. The bank will keep 10% of that cash as a reserve and lend the remaining 900 rupees to someone else. If the bank charges 12% annual interest on the loan and gives you 4% interest on your deposit, then the remaining 8% becomes the bank's profit, right? This basic principle is how all commercial banks in the world operate. But banks don't earn money this way alone. There's a big game behind it that most people don't know, and that game is this. Banks can easily turn your 1,000 rupee deposit into 10,000 rupees and do business with it. How? Let's understand. Let's say you deposit 1,000 rupees in the bank. The bank will keep 10% of it as a reserve and lend 900 rupees to someone else. But pay close attention to what happens here. After you deposit your money, if you check your balance, it will still show 1,000 rupees. Meanwhile, the person who took the loan will also check their balance, and it will show 900 rupees. This means that both of you now have purchasing power of 1,000 rupees and 900 rupees, while in reality, the bank only has 1,000 rupees in cash. The bank has simply created an extra 900 rupees in virtual currency by typing a few numbers into their computer. And this game doesn't end here. It goes much further. For instance, the person who took the 900 rupee loan didn't just take it for no reason. They needed it to buy something. Once they spend that money, it will be transferred from their account to someone else's account, and the bank will again keep 10% of that 900 rupees as a reserve and lend out the remaining 810 rupees to someone else. In this way, a bank can turn a simple 1,000 rupee cash deposit into 10,000 rupees in virtual currency for doing business. You may think your money is safe in the bank and that you can withdraw it anytime you want, but this isn't entirely true. If just 20 to 30% of people decided to withdraw their money at once, the bank wouldn't be able to return all of it because they don't have all the cash. The fractional reserve system runs purely on probability. For example, if you add up all the bank balances of the world, let's say it amounts to 100 rupees. But of that, less than 10 rupees will actually be available in cash, and more than 90% is just virtual digits that you can only see on your phone or computer screen. The system of money has been deliberately made complicated so that an average person can't easily understand it, keeping them trapped within the system. People think currency and money are the same things, but they're not. Currency is a medium of exchange, while money is a valuable asset in itself. The bundle of 1,000 rupee notes you have at home will become mere paper overnight if the government declares it invalid because it's currency. But the gold coin at home will hold its value no matter what the government says. Let me tell you this. While other influencers might tell you to buy gold bonds, digital gold, or invest in gold ETFs to avoid certain taxes, I say buy real gold. Some life decisions shouldn't be made based on taxes. Do you have 500,000 crore rupees that you need to worry about a 2 to 4% tax? The truth is, during the pandemic, real assets were the ones that mattered. No one could buy a year's worth of groceries by showing their gold bond certificate, but a small piece of gold at home could be sold to arrange for everything for the whole year. This paper is just trust, and the world runs on that trust.